Hey YouTube, welcome to another weekly word with Michael. I'm so glad you came today. I want to talk about a subject I'm very passionate about. Hope you'll stick around to hear the full video. If you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button and leave a comment and leave a like for me and tell me what you think about this. I'm going to talk about a very controversial subject today that I'm very passionate about. Very, very, very passionate about. So if I get a little emotional, you just stick with me. Please comment. I really would love for folks to comment on this video and talk about this subject. I'm going to talk today a little about abortion. Abortion is something that I despise. If there's anything in America that is a great sin that I despise more than anything. I'm not, I'm against all kinds of sexual perversion. I'm against all that. I'm against all the violence and all the bloodshed. But I think abortion has come to be my most hated thing that I see America really pushing right now. And there's been a lot of debate over it, a lot of talk about it. Some states are nearly banning it. Some states are opening it up, open up the borders to allow more abortion. But I want to talk to you today. I'm going to read a little bit of scripture. I'm going to talk to you today about something that I really see that is troubling to me and that I really think that we need to pray about. And I'm not going to try to cross the political line too much, but I have to just a little bit. You're just going to have to forgive me. I'm not here to try to support one or another. I'm bipartisan in this video, but I'm going to tell you that whoever is standing for abortion will never get my vote. You will never get my vote. If you are pro-choice, I will never vote for you, ever. Hands down, I don't care if you can make America better. I don't care what you can do. I don't care if you can walk on water. If you are pro-choice, I will never vote for you. Ever, period. No way, no how. I love children, and children are the hope of America. So I want to take your attention to Exodus chapter 1, verses 15 through 22. Exodus chapter 1, verse 15 through 22. Just forgive me if I look down a lot. I'm using my laptop today for my notes, and not a big fan of that, but that's what I'm using right now. So Exodus chapter 1, verse 15 through 22 says, "And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah. And he said, When you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men, children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said unto them, Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men, children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and are delivered ere the midwives come unto them. Therefore God dealt with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them have houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. Now, what this is called is infanticide. It's when a ruler or a government targets infants for murder. That's what abortion is. It's murder. It's conception. That thing is alive. The baby is alive at conception. It's amazing to me that people will go hug trees and try to save trees because they consider them a living object, because they take in oxygen. But the child that starts receiving blood from the mother's womb at the point of conception starts receiving oxygen from the mother's blood at the point of conception is not a living organism. Okay. But anyways, infanticide. This was practiced by a lot of different empires and different groups throughout the ages. So what the king of Egypt is doing here is not uncommon. Barbaric, of course. Barbaric, that's what they were in those times. That's what abortion is. It's barbaric. It's very barbaric. It's barbaric in nature. It comes from this kind of mindset of infanticide. The Spartans did it. The government chose which children lived and which children died. In Athens, it was completely illegal to kill your children if you didn't want them. In Rome, the Romans would kill every child unless the father specified, this is the child that I want to live. If they impregnated a slave, they impregnated a wife that wasn't their favorite, they just killed the baby. Don't keep it, just kill it. That was the mindset of that day, infanticide. So Pharaoh was practicing this type role of infanticide. And what he done, which was a lot of historians are confused by this, of why he did this, was he charged the people to throw the babies into the Nile River. Couldn't get the Hebrew women to kill them. So he charged that his people, the Egyptians, would throw these children into the Nile, the river. Well, this is crazy, number one, because they worshiped the Nile as a god. The Nile was considered a god to them. It was their life source. They lived from the Nile. It was the water they drank. Think of that. They threw these children to die, and the water they drank, it was the water that watered their crops for them to eat. Their food source, their water source, their drinking source came from the Nile. Their life came from the Nile, so they worshipped it as a god. So, number one, it's crazy that they would throw these children into something they worship as a god. And number two, it's crazy that they would throw these children into a place that was their drinking water. That was their source of drinking water in that time in Egypt. So they were blooding their own waters. They were polluting their own waters with these children. You can't tell me that every drop of blood or every, I don't want to get, violent with this, but that everything that come from the child that was either not eaten by crocodiles or whatnot was taken out of that water, and they were drinking it. They were drinking of this. And I'm going to tell you today, you may not be a supporter of abortion, but every single day that a child is aborted in America, we drink of that water. It is polluting the life source of America. Abortion is polluting the life source in America. I'm going to title this video, Blood in the Water, because they're throwing blood, they're putting blood in our life source. And the thing, and it's not surprising, I'm going to talk a little bit later, it's not surprising that the first plague was that the water became blood, that they couldn't drink it. Oh, yeah, they could drink it for a little while. Oh, yeah, it was tolerable. Well, it's tolerable at first, well, just a little bit. Then as we drink it, well, that's the way it was in America. It's tolerable. We have learned to tolerate abortion. We have learned to tolerate it. We'll just drink the water and not think about the blood that's in it. We'll just drink the water. We'll just live the life and not think about how this pollutes our nation. I have been on my face crying out to God that he would deliver us from this plague of abortion, because that's what plague is. Abortion is a plague. Abortion is a plague and a stain on America's face. It is barbaric. It is a regressive. It's taking us back to the regressive days of the Spartans, the Romans, all the Egyptians, all those that practiced the murder of children. We're going back. We're not going forward. This is not a progressive thing. This is a regressive thing. So every person that takes part in this is drinking of this water. Whether you have an abortion or whether you don't have abortion, whether you believe it's right or wrong, whether you support it in the political arena or you don't, I'm telling you, for every one of us God-fearing believers that hate abortion, we still drink of abortion as long as it's in this nation. We have to cry out to God. We need to be on our faces pleading with the Almighty that he would deliver us from this plague, because as long as it is legal in America, we suffer from it whether we support it or not. I want to talk to you today about something I really want to talk about. This is something that we have done that is incorrect, is the vilifying of women that have abortion. We want to say every woman that has abortion is a monster. This is not true. This is not true. Cast it out. Not every woman that has an abortion is a monster. I want you to know this. I want you to read this statistic. I'm going to read you a lot of statistics right now, and I want to talk to you about the effects of abortion on women. Because I'm going to tell you, men are affected by abortion. We are affected by abortion. But abortion not only murders children, it is destroying women. Listen to me today, women. If you are a woman in America, you need to be on your face crying out to God, fasting, praying for abortion to lead this nation. This video may run a little long, so I'm going to apologize. But women, abortion is destroying you. It is destroying your species. It is destroying your gender. Abortion is killing women. It kills baby, but it is killing women. And I want to tell you how and why. And just because you know somebody that's having an abortion, don't you beat on their door like they're some kind of monster. You don't know where they have been and why they did what they did. You need to pray for them, and you need to support them, and you need to see that God can do something in their lives. 40%, according to a study in the UK, according to a survey in the United Kingdom, 40% of women wanted to keep their children. But because of the pressures from others, they had an abortion. Now, I'm going to tell you something. That tells me 40% of women that actually have an abortion they wanted to keep their child. But because of the pressures from others, whether it be the father whether the father of the child or the father of the mother that's carrying a baby. Hey, let me tell you something, folks. I watched a video just the other day, and I'm just going to throw this out there, and just so you can know the trauma that happens to women. This woman was talking about when she was a teenager, she got pregnant, and she had a strict daddy, a strict Christian daddy, that made her have an abortion to try to just, brush all that under the rug. This woman was a teenager. Let me tell you something. Listen to this. This woman was a teenager, and she felt that baby. They give her medicine that caused that baby to have a heart attack in her womb. She felt that baby crawling and writhing to live. Don't tell me that these women are monsters. What these people are doing to these women are monsters. These women are suffering. She was so traumatized. She began to cry. She began to just cry and cry. Listen to this. 2 out of 3 women, that is 66, if you want to round 67%. 2 out of 3 women. If you got 3 women in the room that's had a 12-week abortion after 12 weeks or after, out of 3 women, 2 of them will suffer from clinical PTSD. 2 of them out of 3. If you have 3 that's had an abortion, 2 of them will suffer from clinical PTSD if they've had an abortion 12 weeks or past. That's because they feel the baby die inside of them. We need to reach out to these women. We need to protect these women. When they go into an abortion clinic, listen to me. When they go into an abortion clinic, them are salesmen, professional salesmen. They're going to sell them an abortion. You don't think abortion is a salesman. If it's a sale, it's a sold product. Because when they come in, they aren't allowed to tell them other options. They don't tell them the statistics of the suicide rates after abortion. They don't tell them stuff. When they come in, these people sell them an abortion. A confused woman that is confused or scared. You want to tell me a teenage girl ain't scared when she gets pregnant? They're scared to death. These people come in, sell them an abortion, and then after they have it, they're 67% are going to have clinical PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Let me throw another one at you. 81% are at risk for mental trauma. 81% are at risk for mental trauma. 27% of women who have had an abortion at the moment have had suicidal identations. 27% of women will contemplate suicide. Not just let it run through their mind, but they'll try to plan suicide in their mind. In California, they done a study with Medicaid patients, and they found out that women that have an abortion, I want to really throw this at you. Women that have an abortion are at risk for suicide by 154% more. A woman that has an abortion is 154% more likely to commit suicide. We got to pray for these women because these people are preying on them. They are preying on women. Some of these women are they're just cold and they go do it. Yes, some of them are, but some of these women are confused and they're scared. And they're scared and they don't know what to do. And they get pressure from a man that's worthless, that don't want to raise a child, or from parents that want to just push this under the rug. And they go into an abortion clinic where they really want to keep their child, but yet from the pressures of life, they give in. A 1995 data suggests that after abortion, women are 70% more likely to have self-harm. They're 70% more likely to harm themselves if they have an abortion over childbirth. Women whose pregnancies end in abortion are 65% more likely to score in the high-risk range for clinical depression. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't help this, tears me up. Women who have an abortion are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than women in the general populace. 80% of women that have abortion have at least one mental health issue. Teen girls, listen to this. Teen girls are 10 times more likely to commit suicide or attempt suicide, They're 10 times more likely to attempt suicide if they have an abortion than other girls that do not have an abortion. 10 times more likely to commit suicide or attempt suicide. Teen girls are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide if they have an abortion than an older woman that has an abortion. This preying on teens. This is the devil trying to destroy the lives of teenage girls because they made a mistake. Because they made a mistake, he tries to kill them. We're drinking that. We are drinking that. All the deaths of these children, but all the deaths of these women, we are drinking that. 45% of women will report having suicidal feelings immediately after the procedure. Now, I want to tell you something that may blow your mind. 45% of women have suicidal feelings immediately after the procedure. Only 33% of women have suicidal feelings after being brutally raped. This tells me that a woman is more likely and more in danger of suicide if she has an abortion than if she was raped. We gotta pray for these women. We gotta seek God for these women because it's a trap of the devil. They offer them an easy out, but it will destroy their lives. We gotta pray for them. This tells us that a woman has more trauma from having an abortion than being raped. There's more trauma in abortion than there is rape. We gotta pray. This is such a dangerous cycle. Oh. Women who have an abortion are 34% more likely to develop an anxiety disorder, and they're 110% more likely to abuse alcohol. A woman is 110% more likely to become an alcoholic after an abortion. This is the most terrible statistic I'm going to give you. 827,000 abortions are performed in America every year. That's 827,000 children that die, and that's 827,000 women that will never be the same. That will never be the same. 34% of them will have an anxiety disorder. Lots of them will abuse alcohol. 2 out of 3 will suffer from PTSD. 27% will have a moment of suicidal ideation. 70% will harm themselves. 81% will have a mental trauma. 81% will have a mental issue. They will be 3 times more likely to commit suicide. And 45% will immediately have suicidal feelings right after the procedure. I know my video's holding long today, but I'm very passionate about this. We need abortion gone from America. Not only for the children's sake, but for these women's sake. We got to quit vilifying these women. We got to quit making them look like monsters. Some of them had no choice. Some of them were forced. Some of them were made to do what they've done. At the end of 2018, December, it was published, the World Health Organization said abortion was the number 1 cause of death in the world. It's the number 1 cause of death in the world. We have a problem. We have a problem, and we need to pray that God would rid us of this plague. Exodus chapter 7, verse 20 through 25. This is when the river was turned to blood. Moses there did so and lifted the rod, smote the waters that were in the river on the side of Pharaoh and the side of his servants. And all the waters were in the river turned to blood. And the fish that was in the river died, and the river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river. There was blood throughout all the land of Egypt, and the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, neither did he hearken to them as the Lord had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither he set his heart to this. And all the Egyptians digged round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink the water of the river. And 7 days was fulfilled. After that, the Lord had smitten the river. After throwing those babies in the river, God cursed that. He cursed it so that it stank to the point that they couldn't drink it. He cursed their life source. America, I've got a warning for you. If you continue this act of barbarity of abortion, God will curse us. He will curse us. He will turn our rivers to blood for the death of these children and these women. Men, you're going to have to stand up and be fathers. You're going to have to stand up and do what's right. We have got to pray that God deliver us for this before the Lord turns our waters to blood and we can no longer drink. I come to you today with a heavy heart. I come to you today with a really heavy heart and a really broken spirit, because we need to pray that God would move in this nation and save us from this plague, or it's going to consume us and it's going to take everything that we have. We may be able to drink of the river now, but one day God will curse it and our waters will turn to blood. Our waters will turn to blood if we do not deal with this. You say, well, I'm a born-again Christian. I don't support that. I don't care who you are. Not all the Egyptians threw babies in that river, but all of them had to suffer when the river was turned to blood. I'm going to tell you today, get ready, because as long as we don't stand against it, if you don't condemn it, then you stand with it. And I'm going to tell you today, you may like this or you may not, but if you vote for anybody that stands for abortion, you better read what they stand for. Because I'm going to tell you today, this may be hard to hear, but I'm going to say it because I believe it. If you vote for anybody that will support abortion, then you're just as bad as the doctor that kills the babies themselves. We cannot take a sideline to this. We cannot stand on the sideline. We must confront this plague, and we must deal with it, and we must fight against it, and we must let everybody know that come voting time, you better not be on the side of pro-choice. And let me tell you, you don't want to be on that side when God begins to curse the river, because he's going to do it. I know I don't usually do the tough preaching like this, but I'm going to tell you, we have got to get a hold of ourselves, and you better make sure the person that you cast your vote for is absolutely pro-life and will not be moved away. Come to you today with a heavy heart. I'm signing off with a heavy heart, and I am urging you, do your research, fight against this, pray for this nation that God deliver us from it, because everybody will drink of it. Everybody will suffer if we don't pray that God deliver us. God bless you. Have a great day. Hope I've given you a lot to think about. Hope you join me in prayer and in repentance. And definitely in repentance. And asking God to forgive us for this terrible sin that our nation has committed. God bless you.